welcome to the Longbangers Thursday phone-in association with Lee Spirits, coming at you fast like a 96-minute goal. Right, let's get stuck right into it tonight. Like how you doing, everybody? Y'all good? Same format as last week. So rather than kind of going one at a time, we'll just kind of pick a subject and get your thoughts on it as we go. So I suppose the best place to start would be to recap on what happened on Sunday when we went into Parkhead and went out the cup. McBee, what were your thoughts on the game on Sunday?
It's a total replica of the week before, wasn't it? Just
Aye,
with a different formation that didn't work and didn't hamper them in any shape or form either. I thought, to be fair, I thought the formation was probably a week too late. And even the way that we started off, like you can in the group chat, I'd say that looks, or it should be merely a back five. And it wasn't, it was a back three with wing backs. And that space in between the wing backs just got exploited time and time again before we tweaked it. So aye, not much else you can kind of say because, as I say, it was a complete and utter disaster. That said, the finish for Miko for his header was outstanding. Don't think I've seen a header like that come out for a Hibs player for many a year. But aye, I mean, listen, just this team seems to want to shoot itself in its foot, and that's what happened again. So
aye. Were other than the goal, were there any other positives you would have taken for it?
I think I said that. Like, I think, that after 15, 20 minutes, you're thinking, Christ, this could be anything. But there was a wee bit of character there to get themselves kind of back in it, albeit it was helped with a wee change as well. Certainly coming out in the second half, I thought, you know what, we're seeming like we're up to the job now. Celtic, I don't know whether you want to say they're taking the foot off the gas again or whatever it is, but I thought, you know what, we're well in here. And then, as I say, you just look and you go, like, what are we doing for the back? A lot of people are looking at just the pass back in isolation, but the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing for the goalkeepers past the Rocky and then onward, it's just a total and utter shambles. And again, I look at that, I look at our goalie, and I just cannot comprehend how there's no urgency about him at all to go and meet the ball. Like I can't understand the thinking when he's looking like this, how he can't see he's got a man coming and just meet the ball and shell it. Like it's inexplicable to me, to be honest.
Aye. Even take it on his right foot, Like to let it come across him and go on his left foot was like
There's even
that's
there's like
ridiculous.
skills where he can actually play a ball forward. Like even if he is on his right foot, honestly, it just sums up Hibs in a way. Like, if ever there was a perfect example, last season's one was the free kick into Fish and Niels Coupons. We've already had the early doors this season, shambles.
That's what you need. Hey, James, you get your hand up, mate. I'll bring you in.
Yeah, it's just again, I'm going to give Celtic some credit for this. I know we've kind of bashed us the last couple of weeks, but Rodgers has said he's shifted their tactics. They're shelling teams kind of the early doors. I can't remember if Montgomery or Johnson came out with that spiel, says we're going to go early and fast and put teams on the back foot right from the off. And he's shown us in the last 2 weeks that's what they're doing. And if I took the foot off the gas, we were frustrating them. We got the goal back and we were in the game. But Celtic have definitely upped their game, and if they can hold some of their team together, because looks like they possibly could lose two players that tore us a new arse the last 2 weeks are going. They will batter teams throughout the season if they start every game like that. Because the pace and the first touch passing, I mean, everybody was slating Obita for the passing behind them. Everybody's slating somebody with this pass, but it's one touch passing. You can't really do anything about that. If the guy's got even half a yard of space and he can pull off a one touch pass in behind their defence, there's not really much you can do. Maybe Borsic may have stayed in his line for the wee kind of tap in. Again, it was almost 1-on-1 with him, and it was just touched round him. The first one was a deflection which lifted the ball over them. There's not much you can't really defend against that, and the movement is just early doors amazing. I mean, Tottenham playing exactly the same way. I was watching their game against Leicester, and Leicester frustrated them for so long. I mean, they're 75% percentage, and they've like 25 at home. That's domination, but they steal a point. I mean, we frustrated them, unfortunately, 2 goals down, got the goal back, and looked like they were struggling. They didn't need able to lift it again. And then I'm not even going to go much too detail. We shot ourselves in the foot in the game. 2 goals right at the start of the second half, and it was just we're not pulling it back. But if it was 1 goal, we held it for 15 minutes. We could have frustrated them. And the header, well, actually, the game, I didn't. I just thought it was a kind of mishit looping, and it's in, yay. But watching it back on the replays, it's some header. And if that's what we're going to get for him, for unfit, then I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah. John, you get your hand up.
I mean, I was through there, so I've not really watched highlights, so the comments are mostly from what I saw at the game. The first goal was really fast. I mean, I was convinced that Celtic player was offside. I saw a still afterwards, which he's on. He was that fast in terms of the movement, getting to the byline, and then you see it take the ricochet, and it's one of those where it was a bad goal to lose, but the movement was really lightning. They sharpened up really well after that. I mean, there was a lot of chatting going on. Newell was going around speaking to folk, and that's the advantage of being in the you're seeing stuff. And you saw, I thought I saw players growing in a bit of confidence. I mean, I think Egg Potato should have. He looked as if he was favourite to get the through ball that Maeda scores a second, and there just is that half second between him and the goalie where there's a decision: is the goalie coming to wipe everybody out, or is he clearing it? And that's where Maeda's legs got in. I mean, that's the level of tightness it was. But not the stadium went quiet. I mean, I was amazed at how, having got the goal back. I mean, why Carter Vickers felt he had to wipe out Big Miko, I've got no idea. I mean,
It's totally needless,
it was one of those challenges where you're saying, "What are you doing?" Boyle puts in a cracking ball to the back post. We get it back, and suddenly we're sitting in a library, and the only fans that are singing are the Hibs fans. 1,000 fans in a corner. You know what I mean? Sticking to a really good songbook. There was nothing stupid or anything coming out from what I could hear. And going into the second half, and that's a frustration, is that it felt as if having been battered and only been 2-0 down to get the goal back. But I did feel that there was a bit of belief that seemed to come into some players. I mean, I'm hoping that the comments after the match where, a few of them got a kick, but the fact that you had the manager coming out and saying, or the head coach, yeah, they've got the technical ability to do what we're asking them to do. I mean, that's somebody in public forum saying these are good enough. You know what I mean? Something to build on. But no, season starts Saturday, effectively.
Definitely. Robson, when you come, mate, you get your hand up. You need to take yourself off mute.
There you go. I was just going to say, watching the game on Sunday and the last few weeks, watching Hibs play, Jordan Obita has probably been one of the worst players I think we've had this season so far. He just doesn't look like the player he was last season. I'm not sure if it's this point where we look to drop him come Saturday, but he just doesn't look up for like the positioning for the first goal on Sunday. He played them on side. I know it was quick and all, but you've got to be up in line with your other defenders, and he was the one playing them all on side. So I'm not sure if he's the one to be dropped on Saturday or not.
I think he's had a tough start to the season, Robson, hasn't it? Like for all he was Player of the Year last year, and I think we all know there's more to come for Abita. He's definitely had a bit of a challenging start. How much of that do you think is the fact that we've got a pretty much new defence, so he's not got Rocky or Hanlon or Fish like inside him to kind of keep him right? So it's just kind of getting that balance with new players. Do you think that plays a part in it?
I think it does, but I think he's had also pre-season to work on that, and that's kind of basic in defending, is to be up with the other defenders, if I'm honest. But
yeah,
to say that may improve moving forward, but I just think maybe it's time for him to have a time on the bench and be dropped for a couple of games, just to see if there's anyone else that can step in and do a better job, really.
Who would
Robson,
you put in? Because sorry,
I was about to ask that very question. Who would you put in? Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's the issue. We haven't got the depth. That's another issue we've got. So that comes down to recruitment, and that's always been the issue for the past few years. So that's something that needs to be looked at, and that may be signs coming in the near few weeks. But obviously, that doesn't solve the situation for Saturday, which it to me, is a massive game already at the start of the season, where ideally we should be looking at 3 points as a must. But I know other fans will take that differently, as it's really the start of our season. But I think kickstart on Saturday, get 3 points, and that's a great start to moving forward for the coming weeks and ahead. In regards to, we've got hard games coming up as well, Kilmarnock and things like that.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a wee bit. Shay, just not heard from you yet about the Celtic game. Get your thoughts on it, mate. How did you feel after the game about how it had gone?
I was a bit gutted about getting dumped in the cup. Um, but I think we've played slightly better this week in terms we should think we started quicker, except from the fact that we conceded 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in. But I think we got like a corner or like a goalie made a save in the first 40 seconds or something. So I thought we could have been up for a good game. Thought we started a bit quicker. And I thought George Campbell was a bit more aggressive, which I like in a midfielder in terms of like they're up like a bit more up for a good tackle and be physical. But I think it's like the Robson said, I think the defence could have been a bit slightly better. You could say that about every goal, to be honest, in general with football. But I think it's just the whole gelling. Like obviously, the last 2 or 3 seasons, like what's been said, we've had the same centre backs, even if it's been like rotating. But now we've got 2 new centre backs in, with 2 leaving during the summer. So we've only got one that's actually been at the club. So I'm gutted about the result, but every week's a new week, so because you wanted Dundee.
That's it. And one of the points we talked about on Sunday was like Hibs are a relatively new team in that it's 9 signings that have come in. I know all 9 never started on Saturday or even featured on Sunday. Sorry, Celtic, their whole team was there last season, other than the goalie. I think that makes a difference as well, Shay. Like the Celtic are already a better team, but the fact that they're not having to gel at all, they know all their jobs, etc.
Yeah, that's it. It's thing is they're one of the teams that doesn't really have to add to their starting 11 or their strongest sort of squad on a match day. Maybe if like players left, they maybe have to replace them, but it's like they've not really had to improve because everybody knows it's going to be them or Rangers that's having to squad to win the league every year. But it's weird. So I don't think they really came out of second gear. It's the same like the game the week before and the one against Kelly. They've been all right, but they've not looked like. I normally go into games fearing them because I know how good they are. But the last few weeks, but looked like all right at best. But they've won, so it's working.
I think they've managed to get the early goals in, and that just makes the game quite easy for them. And then because they're good enough to just sort of almost coast the rest of the game and just see it out. John, I'll come to you next. One of the post-match comments for David Gray. So you'd mentioned there about giving the confidence to the players to say you're good enough to do what we're asking to do. He did also make the point about I can't keep playing players that keep making mistakes. And sort of there's that threat of, if you're making mistakes, you're going to get dropped and somebody else will go in. Do you expect to see big changes on Saturday, or do you think that was this is your final warning, guys? I'm going to give you one last chance on Saturday to sort it out?
I think it's one of those where we would have, as fans, we're going to turn around and say, is it Bursic or is it Ektia that he's talking about there? Because that's the mistake that jumps out to us. I would imagine that as a coach, he's looking at the pitch and he's looking at it slightly differently. I mean, there's no centre midfielder anywhere near the centre backs when they're trying to play that ball out. I mean, so he might see the blame somewhere else. I mean, he will have had a plan, and him and the coaching team will have put a plan in terms of what they're doing. No, I would be surprised. I would like to have thought that Kwon has come to us enough up to speed that he's going to be playing on Saturday. I would be surprised to see much change in defence, unless he goes to sort of the 4 rather than the 5 at the back. No, I think he's trying. I think he's putting down where we need to be as a club. I mean, we have for too long been able to write down the first 11 with maybe 2 subs that could challenge it. He needs a squad of 17 to 20 players all of who can play a part in the day. I mean, we see it with all clubs now. You're not playing 11 players for 85 minutes and then bringing on 2 subs. I mean, you've got rotation at 60 minutes that's happening all the time with 3 players. That's where I think he's coming from. I mean, I think at worst people are going to find themselves on the bench. But no, I think it's also the squad's filling out. I mean, that's where the threat is. I mean, this year we've not. I'm going thinking back through the signings. I'm not sure that we brought anybody in that we wouldn't consider going into the first team squad. I know that there's some injuries and some people are a bit behind in terms of their fitness, but he's turned around to the 11 players plus the subs that went out to say, yeah, when there's 18 or 19 players on the training pitch on a Thursday and we're going to decide on the Friday who's playing, I mean, nobody's place is guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
What were you, might be? How do you feel about that comment for Graham? What do you think he'll do?
I think it's the shot across the bow that the squad need to take on board, because obviously he's now talking about standards. So he's saying to them, and again, I think George just mentioned that we're looking at the obvious errors, but clearly there's obviously errors tactically going on as well, where players aren't they impacting games, aren't they probably being effective in the positions they're being asked to play, etc. as well. So I'm glad he's probably done it early in his tenure as well. That he's quite clearly telling them this is not up to standard. I'm not happy with where we're at, and he's laying down a marker for them. So I think come this weekend, I'd be amazed if we see wholesale changes in the starting 11. But I think that probably is their last chance at this point. If we go out on Saturday again and get another hiding, then he's not really got much choice thereafter, has he?
No, that's it. He's going to have to get stuck in. Right, just going to read a couple of comments off of the old YouTube because I can see them this week. Then again, what I did differently this week that I didn't do last week, but there we go. So Ian Toggle said, "Evening all." Jamie Monroe said, "Can we just dedicate the episode to laughing at Hearts, please?" As much as I'd like to, this is they're not important. Talk about the Hibs. Kerry said, "Evening all, GGTTH." Ian again said, "Celtic game was poor once more, but didn't expect much more with the lateness of bringing players in. Now Dundee is different. We really must get a result. If we fail against Dundee, we will surely be seen as a team that will be fighting it out in the bottom 6. Shay, if we didn't win on Saturday, how detrimental will that be to the season overall, or do you think it's still too early for it to be important?
I still think it's early, but it still could impact the end of the season because it could totally demoralise the club in terms of the fans could feel less confident in the team. Then the atmosphere could be totally shit. Then it could just totally crumble. But then that could lead the players on in terms of the fans don't trust us. Let's give them a reason to trust us. Then turn it into no world beaters, but a better team. Then somehow manage to get in the sort of top 5. But I'm not sure. See what happens. I want to try and be confident in the team as I do every year, but the last couple of seasons has bit me right in the arse. So
that's what happens, eh? So the
point it's like being a Hibby.
Be confident as a Hibby. It'll always bite you in the arse.
That's it.
James, what about you? Do you think there's any players that are sitting in the squad that you think they should be playing ahead of the guys that have been starting?
Oh God, the problem is the ones who are not performing, we don't really have the players to put in. I mean, I'm a loathe picking on individuals, but the chat is Boyle's no performing for us. He's a wee bit of pace, but he's no cutting it. Problem is, with no fast right winger we could put out there. I mean, Rudy's probably the closest we've got to a wide winger we could put out there, but I feel he's better than the 10. He's not as quick. He's a wee bit more kind of muscular, a bit midfieldy. I mean, last season we were seen as a team that attacked down the wings with pace and get in behind you. We don't have that at the moment. I mean, Boyle is still getting in behind, but either his decision making or just a wee bit of bad luck or confidence at the moment is really hampering him. And on the left, we've had Rudy, but he's right footed, so he always will cut back. So, from the attacking point of view, I think Bowie might be be champing at the bit. There's maybe 24 midfielders champing at the bit, but again, would I trust any of them over what we've got at the moment? I mean, Campbell was excellent in the League Cup, but as soon as we've hit the nitty gritty, he's gone back to kind of last season's Campbell. I mean, still puts the effort in. I never question the guy's effort. He's maybe just no at the levels we now need. Because a lot of the teams have now, you look at the McCowans of Dundee, you look at a lot of the players in that area, they're improving, whereas we're almost a midfield of 2 years ago. Okay, we've got a couple of options for last year, not bad. I can't really see MD on the bench who can really change us right now. And that's my concern. I mean, there's good players. It's probably just the same level, but we need to start looking at players who are biting at the bit or going to take us up a level. For me, I would probably. You've got Kwon. I mean, that's probably the outlier of all that because he couldn't play the last 2 games. If he's as good as we're hoping, we don't need 2 central defenders because I know we play like Mariah Welsh and Newell in that kind of deep line midfield role. I would drop one of them and put 2 up front because at the moment, 1 up front, we're always isolated. I think if we have, I would go Bowie and Kurevich up top, 2 big boys, and I think that would scare a few defenders, especially don't be disrespectful to the Dundees, Kilmarnocks, the mid-table teams where we want to be battering, getting into them. I think if we've got the 2 up front, it really asks questions. But if we play 1 up front, even if it's Kurevich, he's up against always 2 big 6-footers. And I think that was Vente's problem. He had no chance against some of the centre defences we've been up against. Even the St Johnsons, it's big boys at the back. But if you put Bowie, we've seen him mix it with the 2 Celtic boys, and Kuharevich, who is just, well, that header, it just, where did that come from? It was off the back of Vickers, and it went, great goal. So I think a change of formation to throw a surprise at Dundee would be a better choice.
Rather than a change of personnel.
Yeah, because if we start just panic changing, I think that could equally hamper the confidence as well. I mean, Bursic and Itbeke are right now, they're human, they are hating, probably dreading putting on a shirt, and just, I hope they can turn it around because we do need them. I mean, if I really want to be bad, I'd put Rocky in there, but then the fans will start having more palpitations because there's an element that don't like him. They think they're mistaking him. I think equally they're both good defenders. They've just got a couple of at our level. Probably that's why they're at our level. Because I think Rocky's outballs can sometimes be amazing, but he does have a nosebleed and he gets too far forward. And if he tries to cut back the same way, it's a bit of a panic station. His short ball game is what scares me, but his overall game, I quite enjoy watching him.
Yeah.
John, I don't know if I even answered your question.
I can't remember what the question was, mate.
Sorry, man.
John, you had your hand up there.
I mean, Nicky Cadden, I think for the short period of time he was on the pitch, showed a bit of quality at Celtic Park. Balls that could come in from that side. Whether he gives a pairing, but again, you want Rudy in there as well. So whether Rudy is the one that's going to start challenging Campbell for another number 10, if that's Rudy's more natural position. But no, I think there are people there that sort of can start pushing towards the top of the pitch. But except what's been said around about the defence at the moment.
Right, I've got something called iPhone 84 that's joined the group. If you want to take yourself off mute and introduce yourself, and you can let us know what you think about the squad selection on Saturday, whether David Gray's going to make any changes.
It's me.
Oh, hiya, Tracy.
Hiya. Can you hear me all right? Because
we can hear you all right.
I'm still on the way up the road. So just joined in when I got a chance to stop, but obviously then continuing driving because I can't wait to get home.
Can't blame you.
I know. Sorry, what was the question again?
I can't remember either. Right, it was changes to the team. So I don't know when you joined us, Tracy, but we were talking about David Gray saying after the match that you kind of keep picking players that are making mistakes. And just trying to get a sense of whether you think that this weekend will be when he starts making the changes, or whether he's going to give them another chance and this is like, do it this time, and if you don't do it this time, next week you're out?
Yeah, I think Dave's kind of true to his word. So I do think he might make some changes. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes, but I think he will make some. Where I don't know. It's just as everyone's saying, we've got a huge squad, but we're not utilising the squad that we've got because obviously people are down the begging list. So yeah, it's not like we have the backup, like the team Dave's been putting out and the team that I would probably expect him to put out.
Mm-hmm.
They are all good enough, but there just seems like there is this lack of confidence. And obviously, as soon as the fans get on their back as well, then it's just heads down, and it seems to have a real effect on them.
I think that's the sort of the important thing this Saturday is like if we have a bit of adversity early on, the heads didn't go down. Robson, I'll bring you in, right? We know we brought Quan in from Celtic. He had his spell at St Mirren last season, impressed. I would expect he'll come into the team right away, which means we're going to change the midfield. How would you set that midfield up? Because it has been a problem area for us.
That's the question. I don't know really, because apart from Quan, I just don't see where we have, well, without actually seeing him play in the Hibs shirt, I just don't see how we have a solid midfield that's going to help the defence, because as much as you can put so much effort in, if they're not good enough, they're not good enough, unfortunately. And Josh Campbell and Newell have shown that for the past few seasons they're not good enough, and they're still playing in the midfield, which is a worrying sign, and it's obviously down to recruitment again, which needs to change, because we can't keep going into the season with the same midfield as it's costing us each season, as we've found out for the past few years. Ideally, it's going to be Joe Newell again in there. He's going to be in there, because when he does have a good game, he does have a good game. It's a really good game when he does play, but he's so inconsistent that you just don't know. I just don't know who the other midfielder is. I think it's going to be a midfield three, but I just don't know who the other one would be. If I'm honest, I don't know who'd pick. It's going to be a difficult selection for him, because he's got to get it right. The selection he does have, because Dundee aren't a bad side, and they are capable of completely destroying us if we're not on our game. So it's got to be a team that can defend. That's the priority, really, because defensively we've been shocking for the past few years. So get that right, and then build up to attack is the main thing. But I just don't know who will be the other midfielder in there, and that I'm sure there'll be suggestions from other people on the call, but I just don't know who it would be.
I think it's a tricky one. Maybe what about you? How would you line up the midfield?
So Quan's going to make a huge difference, right? Massive difference, being sitting in front of whatever he decides to play, whether it be the two at the back or the three. And I think clearly he'll go with Newell. He's club captain. And for me, I probably think he likes the legs of Josh Campbell. He's topped them up through pre-season and everything. Listen, there's a bit of bashing going on, not overly, but I'm not sure that you're wanting somebody like Joe Newell or being a defensive midfielder, or somebody like Josh Campbell as well. I don't see that being their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been to their detriment, that our recruitment's been pretty poor in that area as a whole. So, you're asking guys to do something that probably doesn't come naturally to them, exposes their weaknesses, and, it leads on, Daniel, go and settle down, pal. And it leads on to us getting ourselves into a bit of bother, because there is a lack of trust going through that spine of the team. So, as I say, I do think the lad coming in for Celtic will address that hugely. My concern being is we just didn't have the depth should something happen to him as well. You're back to square one.
The point you make there about getting players to do the more natural game, do you think Quan's going to make a big difference to somebody like Joe Newell, who's really been, like he said, the burden in that midfield on his shoulders for at least a season and a bit now? Do you think somebody coming in with it, like who you would think is going to be better quality than Joe Newell, given that he's at Celtic? Do you think that will make a difference to him?
I think so, because the only thing that concerns me again, and we're already highlighting it, is that the guy's coming in, and we're already 3 games. Well, by the time he signed, he's 2 games into the season as well, right? So it's going to take a wee while for them to gel, to get up to speed. That's about my only concern with it. Is you know yourself, you've got to be able to trust where somebody's going to be, and so if you're going to release yourself for a forward run, whatever it may be, you need to know that you've got cover. And I think that's probably what's hampered somebody like Joe over at least the whole of last season, if not even before that as well. It used to be this thing of he plays one good game and then he doesn't play well for 2, 3 games. But that was Hibs as a whole. Like wasn't a Joe Neal problem. That was a team problem. So I do think this guy will make a world of difference. But again, I come back to it. I just worry that we've not got the strength and depth, that if something were to happen to him, as I say, we're essentially back to square one, despite the fact that we seem to have about 500 midfielders. So
we've got a team selection in for Scott Miller on YouTube. James, I'll run it by you. You tell me what you think here, right? So Bursick in goals, Cadden, Ekpiteta, O'Hora, Abita, Boyle in brackets last chance, Kwon, Newell, Cadden, Mykola and Bowie. So that goes along with your get Mykola and Bowie up top, but also keeping Boyle in the team. Would you be happy with that starting lineup?
Aye, I think it's a nice 4-4-2 sort of diamond in the middle, because Newell kind of pushes into that 8-10 role. I hate calling them numbers. Attacking midfield, frees him up. Kwon is a destroyer behind him, and just he does a simple thing: wins the ball, passes it either wide to the wingers, or if they're in trouble, just get it long to the 2 big boys up front. That formation or that selection gives us the options of 2 or 3 different outballs.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the panic, just punt it up the middle, which I can't pronounce his name, Big Marv can do. He wins the ball, he can win a tackle, he just clears it. At the moment, he's struggling with the fancy bit. Ahora's, I don't get why it didn't go to him. A lot of the balls went to Marv to then try and go wide. And O'Hora is probably should have been in that role if the roles are reversed. Probably wouldn't have had that problem, because he seems to be better on the ball. But it's gone now. But that selection, maybe Rocky instead of Marv is my only change. Just I'm worried about Marv's confidence. But the only way he's going to get it back is by having a good performance. If you put him against Dundee and he's a battering ram and just does a simple thing, plays it into Kwon. Kwon's got the outball of wingers, centre forwards, or even just a short pass to Joe Newell to create something. I think that formation and that team gives us options. But again, it's all down to the performance, and it also screams out David Gray's made changes without making significant changes.
I like the look at it.
Sorry, I was going to say, see if he plays 2 in the middle, he leaves us short because they play 3. So they've got the boy Camera and Silla and obviously the lad we're chasing. So if he goes 4-4-2, I think we're in a bit of bother. Like, I think again, there's going to be a wee bit of pragmatism about matching up and maybe try to stop them to play first and foremost, considering form they've been in this season, how many goals they're scoring as well. So I think, I hate to say it, but I think you've got to show them a wee bit of respect first and foremost, given, as I say, how well they've been playing this season already.
Could you not tuck the wingers in? I'm not saying play like Forest on the byline. They could maybe narrow it when out of possession. But I agree. I can't figure out how teams with just 2 in the middle can still sometimes overpower us. I mean, have 3, obviously you're outnumbered. They can just play simple balls around you. But even teams that play 2 in the middle seem to outplay us in that midfield.
I think that's.
I don't know if we could. I don't know if you can play that Boyle and the kind of left winger Rudy kind of narrower out of possession. But again, when we get possession, spread it. But again, the quick turnover, we're in trouble. So who'd be a football manager, eh?
I suppose if they're outnumbering us there, we must be outnumbering them somewhere. Do you know there must be space somewhere else if they're crowding the midfield. John, what do you think about that sort of lineup, or do you have a preference for what sort of formation we would pick up?
It's one of those where I was going on to look at what Dundee's lineup was, and it's that 4-3-3 that they've used against Airdrie. You're going to get Murray and Tiffany aren't going to stay in their slots up top. They're going to be moving all over the place. So the defence are going to have to be switched on. I think you're going to do, if we, for the little I know about coaching, having got the lowest badge you can get for coaching kids. I mean, that's as far as my coaching career went. 4-2-3-1. You're going to put Newell and Kwon at the back. You're going to hope that Mark Bartley was right the other week when he was talking about the idea that Newell is a player in there, but he's carrying too many positions in his head, trying to cover for other people. You put a good six beside him who's good in the ball, can move it. That gives Newell that ability. You're then choosing who you're putting ahead of them. I agree with McBee. It's probably going to be Campbell, because he's the one that's been favoured up to now. Molotnikov is the other one that could potentially go in there. Kaharovic is the one that's going to play in the 9, because that's how we've started so far. Did well against Celtic. And then, you're looking at your Boyle on the right probably, although you've got the options to sort of change that as the game goes on, and whether you put in Molotnikov on the left. No, I mean, going back to playing Queen's Park, I mean, we're trying to get third, fourth, fifth in the league. We don't have to beat a team that's going into the Champions League groups. I mean, so everything that was done about last week in terms of how rubbish we were, we want to be better. We want to compete. We want to be in there. You don't get beat by anybody. I mean, that's the mentality we have to have. We're now playing a team on Saturday that, have had a cracking start to the season, but like us in the League Cup, it scored goals for fun against lower level teams. We screwed up against Kelty, but in the other 3 games we nailed it. I mean, so we have to go back to that sort of attitude in the sense that, Dundee will rush and hurry us for the first 15, 20 minutes. Defenders won't get any time on the ball. They'll be running around, but it'll settle after that. We get a bit of control, move through the lines. But no, I think there's going to be 3 in the midfield, and I think it'll be Kwon, Newell and Campbell.
I was on the Hibs Observer afternoon brief with Liam Bryce earlier on today, and we were talking about the Hibs midfield sort of missing that creative spark, like a Russell Lappy or a Scott Allen type, right? And I know we've not got them at the club just now, but do you think with Kwon coming in, that maybe frees up Joe Newell to sort of take on that mantle? Do you think we'll get a bit more creativity for him?
It's just the drop balls in. I'm trying to remember, was it Abita put the drop ball in for Boyle's overhead? I mean, it's just players who can be further up the pitch to put
Campbell,
the dangerous ball in. It was Campbell, wasn't it? Yeah. But it's that sort of idea. So Campbell's got that in him. We know that Newell's got it in him. And we just have to see what Kwon's range of passing is, because 4-3-3 is narrow. That means there'll be space out wide. And we just have to try and go for it. I think that's what the idea will be, though, as you put it. A long story to say yes.
Nice one.
We'll give Newell more space.
Shay, one of the sort of key players, I know a Hibs player at the moment, but coming in this game, a lot of talk about Luke McCowan. He's obviously had a great start to the season with Dundee, had a good season last season, good enough that we've gone sniffer and put a couple of bids in for him. Do you think he'll play on Saturday, and do you think the speculation will affect him if he does?
I think he'll score against us. I think he'll be all up that he'll play and he'll score. Because he's been linked to us, he'll score and do some daft celebration to wind us up. But I think he's a good player, and like you said, he showed that he's a good player last sort of couple of seasons. So it's a bit weird with Dundee now. It's like what Jack said last week. I don't think he's worth the £1 million that they're wanting. I think he's good, but I don't think he's worth any more than 750, 800k. Unless he's like, I've not seen much of him. I've seen maybe like wee clippets, like his stats. But I think he'll end up pulling a funny and scoring.
You think then what pulls his contract extension with Dundee, his sock and signs it in front of the East Stand. This is celebrating a proper get it right up used to us.
I'll be in front of David Gray or something. I'll just pull his contract out in front of David Gray. I'll be like Shane McMahon when he bought WCW in the 90s. He's watched wrestling.
Was it Scott Brown and Kevin Thompson did that? They had the transfer request in their socks and they pulled them out after the game one time when they were at Hibs.
I'm not sure. I was probably a bit. I'm not sure if I was born before.
All right,
Like,
shut up, Shay.
I was
Right,
in
we're
life.
going to move on. Thanks for that, Shay. I think you might have done that. Anyway, Tracy, another player obviously we were linked with in the summer that ended up at Dundee, wasn't he already? There was Simon Murray. How much do we need to worry about Simon Murray on Saturday?
Yeah, it'll be a handful. It always is. Good player. Obviously, he's. I don't know. He has scored, hasn't he, already for them?
Mhm.
Has he?
I think he scored in the derby, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
I think he did. But yeah, he's always a handful. He's a good player. But I don't know if there's any truth in the fact that we actually went for him or not. So I think, but yeah, I agree with Shay. I actually think Luke McCowan's going to score against us on Saturday. It's just.
Hopefully, it's an own goal he scores.
Oh, that would be good. Do you remember who was it that scored the crackery an own goal for Dundee, and we ended up beating them? It was an absolute brilliant goal.
I kind of go.
Was it not a header as well?
I can't remember who
is
it
it
was.
not the boy who Rocky got sent off for the wee brush with? What's his name? I want to say wee Nya.
Oh, was he like a McGowan?
Yeah,
oh,
McGowan.
maybe I.
They had the tag. The crowd played with a tag, so the Polish came to it was. Aye.
If we could have a wee own goal like that, that would be amazing.
We'll take that.
Dundee scoring an own goal.
Robson, I'll come to you right. So we've got Dundee on Saturday. So I think we talk about, we need to get points on the board. Let's have a wee chat about how significant a game it is for not just Hibs, but for David Gray and the players. What would a win mean for the club? Do you think?
I think it'd be massive. I think a win would boost the confidence around the club as a whole, not just the players, but also the fan base. Because the last few weeks has been a bit, as everyone's seen on Twitter or X, it's been very negative. And I think a win would lift that mood and help. And I would lifting the fans' mood helps the players because they thrive off confidence. And at the minute, they're not getting the support. But as soon as the player does something wrong, the fans are on their back, and that's not going to help their confidence at all. It's going to just make them more nervous and make more mistakes. I think one of the key things this season is not to jump on the players' backs because it's going to be a process, as they've all said. Trust the process, as Mr. Ben Kensel has said as well. But I do think it's going to be a process. We've signed so many players. It's going to take time for them to all gel together as a team. It's going to take time for David to pick the team he wants. Because at the moment, we've got, I say, some of the signs aren't obviously match fit. Some are still injured. So once they're all embedded into the team, and he can then seek out who he wants to start and who he can bring off the bench. But I think a result at the weekend, getting 3 points would be massive, and it would get us on the right foot after a few weeks of difficult results against Celtic and a terrible start of the season against St Mirren.
James, we obviously had those couple of games against Celtic. Is it? Do you know, like if we could get the result on Saturday, is it probably a good thing that we've got those two games out of the way early doors and we can kind of put them behind us?
It's not just the league game, because as I say, the cup game is always a bit of a bonus. We just got a shit draw. We didn't help ourselves the group stages, but we've got them out of the way in the league. Doesn't matter if home and away against them; they're a tough side. I think when we play them again, we want to see an improvement. So we might never beat them, as crap as that sounds, but we can actually start using them as a yardstick. At the moment, we're not good enough. I think Dundee, personally, is becoming a must-win. Not for the terms of the whole season. I just think it's a home game against a mid-table team that we're fighting with. We should be winning that. That's a game we must win. I mean, I can almost stomach losing to St Mirren early in the season because it's away from home. It doesn't matter if it's 4-0, 5-0, still no points. Could have lost it 1-0, still no point. The fact we lost it 3-0 was a bit bad, but forget it, it's gone. Celtic gone. Don't have to play them for 2-3 months. Next one is Rangers end of September. Hopefully they're falling apart at the stadium. They might not be. They're not going to be the same level as Celtic. They are transitioning. The amount of signings they're making is up there with us. I think Saturday is must win. Kelly away. We need to get a point down there, but again, it's the home games against the teams we should be beating.
Mhm.
We shot ourselves the foot with too many draws at home last year. I can stomach draws and defeats away from home. Crap as it is, Easter Road, we should be making it a fortress, making it uncomfortable and getting 3 points. We should be confident getting 3 points against any team at Easter Road. There is exceptions at the moment of where we are, but we should be getting in every game at home. 3 points. Yeah, Celtic, I hate the free hit saying, but to us it's a yardstick. It's you want to put yourself against the best to see where you are. And at the moment we're nowhere.
Aye.
So
all right. We've got Tom McEwen on YouTube said the midfield needs to work, so someone is always free to receive the pass, and I don't mean backwards. And buying McEwen is like buying a house in Edinburgh. You need to pay over the odds. Ian says just a win, don't care who scores. And Kerry said it's a huge game on Saturday. Our season starts here, and the club and fans need it. John, as I said, like the season starting then, is Saturday really where we're going? Right, season starts here. Let's start to make an impact.
That's the part. I mean, but we can reset. I mean, it's that idea where it's a football team. We've dropped 6 points in the league. There's still 100 and odd to go. Yeah, reset, restart. 2 games before the break. There'll be a bit of business done next week, but there should be I think we should have enough in the building just now. There should be enough confidence that can come from good bits that have been done in games, and you're at home. I mean, there's been decent performances at home, and move on from there. So yes.
Yes. Okay, Colin. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. Right, Dundee on Saturday. Obviously, they've had a good start to the season. Are folk getting carried away with how good they are, though?
Yes.
Yeah, right. And why? Why do you say yes? You had a good think about it. I thought is Colin is John in disguise?
Did you ask me
John?
that? I thought you just asked the group.
No,
I
directly asked you. Aye.
Apologies, I wasn't listening.
No, you're all right. I thought I kind of was going to get yes as the answer. Like I knew that immediately because it was a closed question. I knew that was coming, but I thought it looks like Colin, but I think I've got John on this week. The pause was that long.
I thought James was answering it. It looked like he was answering on mute, and I thought I didn't hear my name. Anyway, I do think that. I think I might have said this the other night, whether I said it when we were recording or not. But like our record against them last season was, I don't think we lost to them last season, but we did draw one, and we won a couple, from memory. And the draw was that 0-0 that we
barred them.
Should have won. They finished in 6th. They never finished in the European places, and we were a ball head away for getting into 6th place just because we threw it away at wherever it was, Motherwell, on the last day. Yeah. And I think it's just because we're trying to sign McKinnon that everybody's watching him a bit closer. Really, I mean, they beat Hearts, right, and they drew with Dundee United, so everybody's beating Hearts now, and Dundee United just got promoted. So, like, really, it's just because we're watching them a bit closer because we're trying to sign one of their boys, or we were, whether we still are, I don't know. I think we're just over egging the. I don't want to underestimate them. Like, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're that much better than us, if they're better than us at all, based on past performance.
There is that, like, we were looking at it last week. They put 6 past Airdrie, and then you go, well, actually, we in the League Cup groups when we were playing the lower league teams, Celtic aside, but we were putting 4s and 5s past teams as well. So it's no, I think that's a particularly great benchmark for how good they are either. Colin, what would you do with the midfield? We're expecting Quant to come in. Who would you play beside him?
So I would do 5 in the middle, but the 2 wide. So I would have the Cadden twins down the wings, and I would in the wing back, and I would have Quanin and Newell and Molotnikov, based on what we've got, I think. Milling
Two
across at
captains
the near end.
aren't really twins. I've seen them standing next to each other, and they're
I,
definitely brothers. Like, but I think they're twins. I think
I think they look like each other that much.
Nah, there's enough there that you would say, and they've got the same
Think
name,
it's
which
enough?
it's a bit of a giveaway with the name. Like, but I would be checking their birthdays. They're saying they're twins, but I think that's to get them both a deal at the same club at some point in their careers. It's like a gimmick. So I'm not convinced.
Do you think one's a lot older than the other one, like the Larry Kingston of the sort of?
Yeah, I've seen twins before and they look like each other. That's all I'm saying. Like really like each other. Right? Sometimes to the point where you can't really tell the difference. So I'm just saying I've got doubts. Shay, you get your hand up, mate.
I might be totally wrong, but is it not like twins that you can get that look like each other, so identical? Then like there's young that they're like born on the same day, but they're not like identical.
I'm not having
you
that.
could be a brother
wrong,
and a sister.
but-
You could be a brother and a sister. Are you suggesting that, Shay? Is that what you're saying?
The only example I can think of that in real life is Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in the film Twins. So
Yeah, but only their mum could tell them apart, though.
exactly. Robson, I think you put your hand up there for a wee second. Do you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, not to do with that anyway. But does anyone actually think that Garen will start on Saturday for Dundee? Because just looking on Twitter, and I'm not sure if anyone else has seen it, but obviously the Hibs Observer have just put that Dundee are still considering the third bid. So is there actually a chance he doesn't actually start?
Is McCowan not their captain?
He wasn't the captain on Sun, or when they.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, Carson
I think
was
he's
the
one
captain.
of their captains.
They've
got like a club captain, like when Paul Hanlon played, he would be the captain sort of thing.
They've no thought of the leadership role, the Ryan Poach's leadership role. They've no thought of that yet, so they're just rotating their captaincy. I don't know, Robson. I think the Doherty, isn't it? Is the Dundee manager had said that he trained well and he was expecting him to play. I don't know if that's just like a bit of paper talk, really. Like sometimes you get that from managers, they'll no show their hand too early. But I would think he'll play. I think it probably speaks to McCowan's character if he plays. And I think he'll probably play quite well as well. Have a wee point to prove. I'd like it if he didn't. Can you imagine the speculation if he doesn't? Like everybody's going to go, definitely sign in. Right, we're nearly out of time. I suppose let's just go and get the predictions to see how much everybody thinks Hibs are going to win by, which is generally how the
doesn't matter who we're
predictions.
playing. Real Madrid on
Predictions
Saturday.
doesn't
How many
matter.
do you think they'll win by?
Real Madrid on Saturday. What's the score going to be? It's going to be difficult. 2-1 Hibs. Right. Right, Robson, you're last to speak there, so you can go first. How is the game going to go, and what's the score going to be?
I think it's going to be a very close game. I think Dundee will take the lead, unfortunately, due to an error as well, because that's how teams seem to score against us at the minute. But I do think we have enough threat going forward to get back in the game, and I think we'll win 3-1.
Nice one, right? That's a good positive start. James, you're next.
Statement 3-0 win. I think we'll go out there and just perform. The 4-4-2 will become magic, even though I know I'm probably wrong on both counts.
Can you imagine? Right, see, given the furore last season when Nick Montgomery played 4-4-2 for ages and everybody was losing their fucking mind about it, can you imagine if David Gray just settles into a 4-4-2 this season, especially if we didn't start winning quickly?
Like, folk liked the 4-4-2 at the start under Monty because we drew a couple of games and chucked a win in between them, I think, and it was like 4-4-2 old school.
And then that was to blame entirely. Nothing else was to blame, apart for the formation after that. John, how's it going to go on Saturday?
4-1 to the Hibs.
3-1 did you say, or 4-1? 3. Fair play, McBee.
Tight, cagey affair, but we'll sneak it 2-1.
Nice one. I thought Daniel might have still been a bit. We would have got a prediction for him as well, but
I don't know. He's disappeared today, Steve, because he should be in bed right now. So
fair play to him. Fair play. Shay, how do you see it going?
I'll still go with my McCowan scoring prediction. So I'll say 3-1 Hibs.
Nice one. There's loads of positivity tonight. Tracy, if you can hear us, what's the score going to be on Saturday? Can you like making predictions? No, I'm going to assume. She's iPhone 84.
I
don't know if you can see her now. I think if the video is off, he didn't show up on the screen, but she's driving back, so she's probably going through a tunnel or something like that. Big long tunnel on the way up the road for wherever she's been. Right, Colin, your last prediction.
I was going to say 3-1 as well, but So to be different, I'm going to say 3-2. Hibs,
Right.
Hibs,
3-2 Hibs. Right, and here's me, Daniel, just popped up. Daniel, what's the score going to be on Saturday?
2-1 Hibs.
And who's
Oh, that's
scoring?
my boy. Yeah.
Who's getting the goals?
Don't know.
All right, so you can guess. It's all right. Like Lydia's Ken, there's no correct answer. You just have a good guess at it.
Uhura and I don't know.
All right.
First goal, though.
Bowie.
We're going for. Oh, you're going Bowie.
So yeah.
Right.
That's a good shout. Right, just one last thing to sort of wrap up on. Some of you will know that we quite often do a bit of work with the guys in the Community Foundation doing the changing rooms, and the SOS initiative where with Dave Thompson and Neil Renton are really right behind that. They asked us just to mention that there's a drop-in on Monday the 26th, which is this Monday at 7 o'clock in the West Stand. So it's for supporters supporting supporters, pretty much like to help each other out. So if you're interested in that, there's no charge or anything. You just rock up at 7 o'clock on Monday night at the West Stand. Right, thanks everybody for coming on tonight. Really enjoyed the episode. Nice to do it on the back of another team's defeat, who we shall not mention. But it was a good start to the evening. We finished the evening on a positive with lots of prediction of Hibs wins. Colin and I will be back on Sunday to dissect the defeat. With John, so get your talking points in for that. If you don't already subscribe, please do go in to our Patreon and subscribe. There is still a free trial. You can get 7 days free. You get access to all the subscriber content that's on there already, and anything else that we put out in the coming week. Thanks very much, and we will see you.